You are ready to go.
I really hate to break this up, but welcome to the September 28th meeting of the Rotary Club of South Jacksonville. For our Zoom members, and we have quite a few today, we are happy that you can join us. Please remember to mute yourself and submit any questions or comments via chat, or unmute yourself and let us hear from you. Great to see so many of us with us today. We thank our greeter, Steve Madden. Thank you, Steve. And the prayer and pledge today will be given by past President Alan Clark.
It's great to be back. I haven't been in a big person Rotary meeting in months and months. I thought we were over the COVID, but apparently not quite yet. I was thinking about what I might say today. We'll get into that in just a minute. Let's start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm trying to think about a prayer today. I was kind of fixated on the COVID thing and all the problems we've had. Now COVID has become the go-to excuse for not doing it. And we need to get past that. And thankfully, we're in Rotary where we can make a difference and get past a lot of things. So I'm thankful to be a Rotarian for sure. In the meantime, I think I need to focus on the serenity prayer to get through all this. Let's bow our heads. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life, supremely happy with you forever in the next. And we thank you for this opportunity to gather here today in fellowship, and bless this food to our use and us to thy service always. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Alan. Family time with Christy King. Christy, are you ready?
I'm here.
All right then.
Thanks, President Richard. So we'll start with birthdays. Andrea Myers celebrated her birthday yesterday on September 27th. For member anniversaries, past President Alan Clark is celebrating 41 years with Rotary on September 30th. Hal Kelly is celebrating 47 years on October 1st. And past President Ted Johnson is celebrating 49 years on October 3rd. For wedding anniversaries, Tamara Baker and her husband Bobby are celebrating 22 years of marriage on October 2nd. And please also keep Tamara in your thoughts and prayers as her father recently passed away.
There we are. Thank you, Christy.
Thanks, President.
Anything else? No. Craft Talk, not today. Announcements. On September 14th, nominations to fill vacancies on our board of directors were announced and the ballot was ratified. Those two people were Tamara Baker and John Cumbo. By a voice vote today, please let me hear all those in favor of their election.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and the vote carries, and we congratulate Tamara and John and welcome them to the board. As you know, the Rotary shirts have arrived. If you have not seen Patty to pick yours up, I know they'll be available again next week for those who haven't done so. Let's see, Gary Wilkinson has an announcement that continues our club's emphasis on membership recruitment. Is Gary here today? There is Gary.
Thanks. Not really announcement. I thought about something that I didn't say last week, but I just wanted to add to put into your thought process when you were talking about membership and possible new members. One of the things that you're often questioned about is attendance. So I just wanted to remind everybody that you may not even realize this. It was somewhat enlightening for me to actually read back through our rules that are at various places. There's a lot of ways to attend today that are much broader than it used to be. Obviously, physically come and attend and make up somewhere else. But even attendance at a committee meeting, at a board meeting, at a social event, at a service event, all of those count as attendance. And it fits in with the theme and the concept, which I think Rotary is promoting. We always should, but as I said last week, the more you participate, the more you get out of it. And so the good news is that our attendance policy is encouraging that principle. So remember that when you're asked, tell me about attendance. That's a good response, so that we all know that. And that was it. Thank you.
We are hurrying right along today, and I'm doing so purposefully because I know that you'll have a lot of questions for our guest speaker, and you'll want to give her all of your attention for as long as you can. Dinkins Grange, will you please introduce our guest?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Whoops.
Did we miss something?
I'll tell you a secret. For reasons that you don't need to know or understand, I put together today's agenda. And you can see the results before you. We have one order of business before we introduce our speaker, and that is to introduce visitors and guests. Charlie Cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have any guests here other than our speaker today? And how about on Zoom? Anyone?
So I have a guest that should be on Zoom. She's trying to get in anyway. I don't see her yet. She's trying. Delphine, special guest. I work with her at JEA. And she's a master black belt. Let me clarify from last time, that's not karate. That is a Six Sigma process improvement.
Let's take the karate
I hope she is on. And do we have any visiting Rotarians? And Alan, it is great to see you. We're going to see more of you. All right. Well, in anticipation of the guest, let's greet her in our fashion. We here in Rotary welcome you today. So glad you came along, glad you came our way. Our hand of fellowship is yours, in sunshine or in rain. We here in Rotary say welcome, come again.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, note to self. The president should not put the agenda together. We almost missed the song. And now, Dinkins, we're ready for you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Monique Chatman is a native of Jacksonville. She earned her bachelor's arts and elementary education from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University and received her master's in education with a concentration on educational leadership from the University of North Florida. While having been an educator for 17 years, serving its various roles throughout her career, she is currently the principal of Venetia Elementary School of the Medical Arts, which is a truly exceptional magnet school led by a truly exceptional principal. Venetia is one of 107 elementary schools in Duval County and holds the distinction of operating with an A rating under Monique's leadership. And while being principal of one of Duval County's best performing schools, she manages to find time to mentor children and actively participate in the renowned Christian Performing Arts Company. Monique is also the published author of Undaunted, a woman's collective devotional. I visited Venetia Elementary on a fairly regular basis back on and before 2019 BC. BC, of course, meaning before COVID. Volunteering with Richard Dow, Vic Zambetti, Jack O'Brien. It doesn't take long being at the school to learn both the students and teachers have the greatest admiration and respect for Principal Chatman, and a school that seems to function as one large family. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Monique Chatman.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So good afternoon, everyone. And first, I want to say just thank you for having me today. I'm so honored to be your guest speaker. As mentioned, I'm Miss Monique Chatman and the proud principal of Venetia Elementary. Today, I'm going to just speak about some of the highlights and initiatives the highlights of Venetia and some of the initiatives that we're doing at our school. First, I want to start. We tested this earlier, and of course, you know how technology does. It will not cooperate. Let me go to this one and see if I can get it to you. It's not correct. Okay, there we go. So I wanted to start with this quote that every child deserves a champion. So this is very important to me as the leader of Venetia Elementary, being that with this saying that an adult who will never give up on them and understand the power of connection and assist that they become the best person they can be. And this is the philosophy that I take as I lead Venetia Elementary, that every child needs a champion, no matter the highest level or the students that are struggling academically. I try to make sure that we seek all level of learners out and we pair them with someone within our school. This is my long principal's message. I'm not going to read it all to you, but this is just about what I believe at Venetia Elementary. We provide that excellent instruction and we embed the medical arts. I always get the question, what is the School of the Medical Arts? What do you do with medical arts? So we look at medical type standards, medical professions, and we infuse it into our math and our sciences. So they learn about different medical careers, they learn about different medical tools, and just how it embeds within our normal curriculum. I believe, as you can see, in doing what's best for our children. So we try to really build those personal relationships with students to make sure that we get to know them. I pride myself on getting to know the families. to make sure that I am there and I'm a visible person. As they mentioned, when I'm at Phoenicia, I'm everywhere. They can rarely find me in my office because I'm in the cafeteria, greeting students. I'm at the front door saying hey to parents. I'm just everywhere in the building because I think it's important for a principal to be visible as I'm around the school. One thing with us, we are a military population school. We're zoned for the military. And I'll talk about that in a few, but we're only like 2 miles from NASJAX. So we're zoned, and we'll talk about some programs that we do with our NASJAX families. One thing that has been remained our focus is teaching and learning, which, as you know, we're in a pandemic continually. So that's hard. So we try to not focus on COVID. COVID is everywhere. It's everywhere we go, everywhere we turn. We have students out sometimes because they were in close contact. But my goal at the school is to continue that focus on teaching and learning. So I always pride ourselves, and we talk about our highly qualified teachers. One thing that's unique about Venetia is that we have teachers that kind of come there and they retire. So we have teachers that's been there a long time. We don't have a high turnover rate, and that's good for the community and good for our parents and students because they see familiar faces. We focus, of course, on whole group and small group instruction that is based on students' needs. So one thing I'm very big on with my teachers is small group instruction, making sure we know the needs of our students and we meet that need each and every day. We offer tutoring after hours. And we also focus on social emotional learning, which is big in this day and age. We definitely have to focus on social emotional. What we've noticed, and we were looking at just our trend data, and 18-19 was the last regular school year that our students had. So 19, they didn't get to finish. Last year, it was a whirlwind, and this year we're starting the same thing. So it's been like 3 years that our students have participated in what we call a normal school year. So focusing on that social emotional learning with focusing on our character traits, responsibility, respect, but also doing a wellness Wednesday. So on Wednesdays, we have Wellness Wednesday, and we focus on that mental health of our students. We also have something called Calm Classroom, where they take 2 to 3 minutes and they do mindfulness. So that is done each day, 2 times a day, and it's only about 3 minutes, and it just helps students calm, get calm and recollect and go forward with their day. I mentioned our partnership with our military family. We do have reading with the military. As you can see, some of our service members will come when we could let them in to read with our students. We have like a read aloud day, and they come in and they're guests and they read to the classrooms, and also eating lunch with their students as well. But our partnership with the base is one that we take pride in, just making sure that we keep that door open. We have students that transition in and out. So we have a program called the Comfort Crew. And so our Comfort Crew provides that support for our students. We also have the Military Family Life Counselor that is there on site each and every day at Venetia to help with those relationships with kids and help them transition from parents deploying. We do something called a yellow ribbon ceremony where they get to tie a yellow ribbon on a tree. And so that signifies that a parent is deployed. So you'll see yellow ribbons all around the campus. And that is very special to the student, because when they walk past the tree, they smile and they're showing like, this represents my mom or my dad that's deployed. And then when the service member returns, they get to cut. We do another ceremony to take the ribbon off the tree. It's very worn, but we put it in a plastic bag and they like to take it with them. But we do have those programs because we understand being a military student and family does have a lot of challenges. Just in April of this year, we registered 19 students in 1 month. So as you can imagine, that's very hard to come in at the end of the school year. So just having those programs to help our students get acclimated with other students in the classroom is helpful. this is our, we also do a flag raising ceremony every month. And you see we have the Navy brass band here that will come and they play. We do it in the courtyard. We also have support from other high school ROTCs in the area. At the time it was Lee, now Riverside High School would come out and they would also participate in the ceremony. So we try to not only just have Venetia family, but reach out to our community or feeder schools as well. We have a program called the Cathedral Arts Program, and this is a performing arts education program that students participate in school. So it's 2 days a week after hours, and they learn about musical theater. Our program is drama and theater. This program is district-wide in Duval County. It is different for each school. So sometimes they have string, dance. We're like a combination with theater. And so this is a project that our students sign up for, and then they do a big production in the spring. Another part of our magnet is the Run Walk Club. So this supports our magnet of School of Medical Arts because we also focus on health and fitness with the School of Medical, not just medical careers, but also in standards. But Run Walk Club, so they get to earn laps as they run around. They have a scan card and they earn laps. And we also announce who has the most mileage, running miles on campus, as well as their name is on the Leading the Way to Good Health board. And so this is something that our students love. They participate in, the teachers take them out and they get to participate in this. And we talk about how health and fitness relates to, once again, their everyday well-being. We have our safety patrols, which many of you probably heard of safety patrols before. That's common, but I also like to highlight it because these students do get selected in 5th grade for their good grades, their great behavior, and leadership skills. So it's always important to highlight our safety patrols at the school as well. So this is just one of our fun activities that we do each year is our book character day and the vocabulary day parade. So we try to have fun. That's one thing that I just try to make sure that it's joyous while we're at the school and we're having a good time, because we want students to understand that learning is also fun. It doesn't have to be drab. So with our book character day, as you can see, you just pick a book and then you dress as the character. And so we have different teams. We did the Cat in the Hat. We also have a vocabulary day parade that is accompanied with projects that they get to research a word. They get to write about the word. And then we have a word vocabulary day parade where they dress up as the word and they circulate and parade around the building. So the singing this morning was great because, you know, I'm an elementary principal, former elementary teacher as well. And that just really warmed my heart because I like to have a great time, and that was very welcoming. So some of our family events, this is some of our activities that we have at the school. So all volunteers are welcome in the school when we can have people in the building again. But we do have volunteers where they come in and volunteer in the classroom. That's always welcome. Of course, open house, we do something called Tails, Chunks, and Treats. The Jingle Jamie Fun Run, which is they dress up in jammies and run and just earn different medals and things. We do have Donuts with Dudes and Darlings. And so that's something that they come and have the donuts, and, you know, we do an activity with the dudes, and it's fun, and, you know, get to see the dads. And we say dudes because we say any father figure. So it could be uncle, it could be a godbrother or cousin, just some kind of father figure for that event. And Darling's the same way. We also provide lunch and learns for our parents. So we know like this we always call it the new age math and different things of reading and science. We have a lunch and learn for reading strategies and a lunch and learn for math strategies, so that parents, so we're as the adults at the school, my reading coach and my assistant principal and I, we're training basically parents and sometimes we have teachers lead it, but we train the parents on different strategies that they will see to how to help their child at home. So we try to provide that resource as well. And we do something called the Purple Ball in April. That's month of the military child. And we normally have, service members and our students, and we have a program to celebrate our students as being military students. The month of the military child is all about the students, because that's the month that focus on them and all of their needs. So we have many family events and events that is offered at Venetia. And I just love our little school. It's on the west side of town, on Timuquana Road. And we have about 400 students at the school that we take care of. And once again, I'm Miss Chatman, proud principal of Venetia Elementary. And I really want to say thank you for your time. I know this question and answer, right? Okay, I see some fans. All right. Yes, ma'am.
What happens with the lettering of the schools for achievement or non-achievement with the change in the whole testing program?
So what is going to happen with it?
Yeah.
We are not exactly sure yet. That is the question that we have with the lettering. Last year, it was just a rating. So it's just a percentage of schools that earned points, but they did not rate us as a school, like our normal rating for school grade that we normally get. We are still trying to figure out, because we are also in a transition for new standards. Our kindergarten through second grade students right now are on something called best standards. We will all be on best standards in K-12 next school year. So then we were looking for more information for how we will be rated for school grade. Yes, ma'am.
Kind of going along with that, I guess, what are your thoughts on what they're looking at doing with the whole Florida standard assessments going forward and making it more kind of, I guess, a few times a year now?
Right. So my initial thought about that is that we will so the standardized test, the FSA, is at the end of the school year. Of course, we do other assessments throughout the year. But my thought on that being 3 times a year is that it will actually be kind of good to see, it will be good to see the progress. So for instance, I think about some of our lower performance students, say they got a 15% on the beginning of the year, but on the third test, they got a 55%. Well, it's still not all the way there, but they went up 40 points. So you can see that transition. But we want, of course, as educators, we want to have more information, because it's only been the preliminary things listed. So our initial is like, okay, that sounds great, but we always know we have to read the fine print. It's more that's coming.
I know.
Yes.
So elementary school, and you're a medical arts program. So
Yes.
what is the difference in, I guess, curriculum and the courses that you have for the children at your school?
So we follow the same Duval County curriculum. We just infuse some of the science, like some of our science lessons are a little bit different. We tailor it into science and math. So for instance, if they're doing science tools, they may bring in some of the medical art tools that they research. Also, our different grade levels have projects that they do in relation to the standard, depending on what it is for their grade level. So one group may be like a gardening club, so they're focusing on gardening in relation to how it connects, how we can garden to produce healthy food. And so it just depends on the grade level for the standards. We also feed into, if you are a magnet student, you also have continuity to feed into Darnell Cookman, which is the School of Medical Arts, that's 6 through 12 down, like on 8th Street.
That answers my next.
Yes, so they take that and that feeds into, and they will go, they can be, and they'll continue. Then they get into way more extensive work in middle school than we do in the elementary level. Yes, sir.
So every school has, most schools have kids who are coming and going during the year.
Correct.
And I've always wondered, in schools such as yours, that
Mhm.
have such a heavy military component.
Yes.
So you have new class, first grade, second grade, and the continuity that you say you got with your teacher, you got a pretty good idea what these kids are.
Right.
How do you assess these kids? And they're not just military, of course, but I would think that's got to be a big component of what you do when
Yes.
these new kids come in.
Correct.
How do you assess them?
So we have different programs within the school that we use, like online programs. So iReady is one, I don't know if you've heard of it, Achieve 3000. We have different actual programs. So they have an initial test. So they will take it's called blended learning. They will take assessments at the beginning. Prelim, we have baseline tests that we give them to see, okay, where are they falling right now? Sometimes it doesn't all the way align because if we're getting a student from Washington, we're on Florida standards. So sometimes, but a lot of the time we will see within a month or so as they started learning our standards, we can see where they are and know what parts to tweak, but it is a difference. And we have baseline tests that we see where their initial start based on our Florida standards, I would say.
Let me ask just a follow-up.
Okay.
My wife was a Navy brat,
Okay.
and I don't remember the number, but it's astounding. I think she went to 16 or 17 schools in 12 years. Are you still seeing that kind of turnover? My sense is that the Navy, the rest of the military, has gotten a lot better about not transitioning.
Right. So we see like, I have like a fourth grader that has been to 6 schools, right? But we do have where they try to leave them for 2 to 3 years, but it's needs of the Navy. So they are like, whatever they need, sometimes they'll be there for 6 months and they're like, oh, we're leaving again. That doesn't happen, but most of the time we're able to sustain 3 to 5 years. They did stop with transitioning during COVID time, so that bought people a little bit more time. And so that was good. So that's why we didn't have any transition until like the end of the year, which was April, with all of those students coming in. But they tried to keep them settled, like at least what we were seeing now, 3 to 5 years. Yes. Yes, sir.
Thanks for being with us today. Just
Thank
kind of let your mind go free and a fun question.
Okay.
You've been an educator, now you're an administrator.
Yes.
Looking forward with the decades to come for public education. What's at the top of your wish list that you hope for public education?
That is a really good question. Top of my wish list for public education?
Yeah, is it more money? Is it some other ailing thing? Is it a physical thing? And I don't mean personally, but you know what I mean.
Yes, definitely. I would say more money for our teachers for sure. Because they work hard and seamlessly. Like most places, when you're out, you're like, hey, I call in and I'm out. But not a teacher, you have to prep, you have to have sub plans, you have to make sure they're working on the weekends and working after hours. So I would definitely hope for that. And second, just more for even parent involvement, I would say too, just parents to really try to understand what it is that the teacher does and how they can support the school versus being like a pushback or just against things that are happening, just kind of seek for understanding, but definitely support for our teachers because we are, as we see now, there is a teacher shortage and also even substitute, there's a substitute shortage with people not coming into the profession as much because it's not a highly, regarded profession anymore. And so just those things to just kind of build the respect again for public education teachers. Yes. Yes, sir.
So on that note, my wife is a school teacher.
Okay.
Many years.
Okay.
Yeah. So you haven't been in the classroom and then gone into administration.
Yes.
I would be interested in knowing how you have seen parental involvement change from the time you got in to where you are now, and how that affects you and your position today.
So the parent involvement, I would say over the years, with some, it just depends. It increased as far as them reaching out. And so with because I would say technology, right? So we have various technology programs, so they're able to be more involved that way. But as far as volunteering in the school from over the 17 years, we have seen some decline within parents volunteer. And it really kind of depends on demographic of the school. But really, a lot of our parents have to, like, they're working more. So some of them, it's not that they don't want to be there, they have to do their job and they have to work. And if they don't work, they don't get paid. So you have that sense where over the years it has changed because more people are, you know, working. I would say people weren't working back then, but I don't know if they had time where they were putting in to come volunteer, but it's not as important to volunteer. It's kind of like, how can I do things quickly? And that's what we're seeing, because as we see, fast paced, everything is fast paced, everything is online, everything is reachable at a fingertip, so that act of being in the building, that physical volunteering, I have seen a decline. What was the second part to the question? Okay. I remember it was like a two-part, and how does it affect I think it was affecting my position today. My goal is always to, how can I get parents more involved? So I'll say, parents, like, how can I get you involved? What can we do to get you more involved in the school? So my take on this is to try to survey parents to see, well, what are you comfortable with helping with? You know, so trying to get them involved that way. That's how I try to, as an administrator, do, because and over communicate too. Parents like to be in the know. I used to run my classroom the same way. So I try to make sure we over communicate with parents, because if they're knowing what's happening in the school, that's very helpful for them to have buy-in to what's happening. And so then they'll come and volunteer and help out. When I say, hey, I need you to send this in, they'll come in because they're like, okay, Ms. Chatman has been communicating with us. So keeping that open line of communication is very important as well with my parents. Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
I've heard, I guess, on the news about kind of learning loss from kids for that year where they're all virtual. And I was just wondering, in your experience, did you see that? Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. It is definitely a real thing. So students that need that extra small group instruction, even our students that are on grade level and are thriving, we saw at least a 20-point gap from when they were online and when they came back in the building, and then a month of being in school, their grades shot right back up. So we did see the learning loss. And then at the end of the year, with students taking the FSA, we saw some, gaps in the learning from the years prior. But that is a real thing, and we do see it, especially our little ones who, you think about their first and second grade, where the learning starts. They've ended the year at kindergarten, then some parents kept them out in online first grade, so they're coming in and they haven't, everything is virtual. But it's something about that in-person teaching, being able to touch a book, really being able to have that interaction, even with their peers. We also saw a social gap within students, with them not knowing how to kind of reacclimate with being around people. So the learning loss, we definitely saw that transition as well, but it's starting to pick back up. And when they get there, students are really resilient, so they start to pick it back up quickly. But we did see it. Yes, sir.
Yes. As one of the volunteers at Valencia, we remember the historic dining room fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
The wonderful volunteer breakfast every spring.
Yes.
But most of all, what we remember was whenever you appeared in the classroom and how inspirational you were and how much energy radiated from your presence.
Thank you.
And I will always remember that. So what I want to ask you is, when a student leaves your school, what do you want them to know about themselves and about the value of education?
When they leave Benicia, as for education, I want them to understand that they can persevere and do anything that they set their mind to. So we talk a lot about goal setting at Benicia, so that, as you matriculate through school, continue to work hard, continue to persevere, don't give up, as you continue through education in general. So that's something that we instill at Benicia as they go on. And so That's something that I want them to continue to take with them to make sure that they understand the value of education and learning, that, you know, if they take ownership of their learning, they can always go forward and, you know, meet any goal and limit that they have, that they want.
Are there any other questions?
Yes.
I'll ask a silly one. I saw this joke recently,
Okay.
how to stump a millennial. And there were several different answers, and one of them was, ask them to write in cursive.
Yes.
And I was wondering, do you all not teach cursive anymore? Is that just?
It wasn't in the curriculum, but with the new set of standards, it's built in.
Really?
Yes, so right now, have anyone ever heard of Danilian writing?
Yes.
Yes, so Danilian is what we're teaching our kindergartners through second grade right now. So it's basically more like curved letters, and it helps them, it's print, but it's curvy to help them flow into cursive. So cursive will start at third grade now. So we are going to start teaching it again. So it has not been taught. But yeah, so my teachers were like, I'm sliding in cursive in fifth grade, but it wasn't required. It wasn't in the standards. To type. They do some, well, they know how to use, because they use a computer all the time, but we don't have like typing lessons, but they do use a computer all the time with like their learning platforms. So they don't know how to properly type, but they know how to put in their password and do that type of stuff. Answer small answers, yes. Keyboarding skills, yes, yes.
Anything else?
That'll be it.
Ms. Chapman,
Yes,
we have a certificate for you
okay,
that indicates that we have given in your name a small donation to Rotary International and Polio Plus
okay,
for the eradication of polio internationally.
thank you. I appreciate it.
And I would like to thank you for making this an excellent Rotary Day and sharing your love of education with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Okay, he looks at the agenda to see if he has. Next week, our speaker is the mystery speaker that I don't know of yet, but I know they're working on it. So no problems. Congratulations to Tamara Baker and John Cumbo, our newest board members. And we end our meeting with something new today. And I'll reverse it for you. Our Rotary membership motto, which is each one bring one. Please rise and say with me, each one bring one.